Monday, October the 18th, 2021 at 5:30, and I call this meeting to order. Item number 2 is the acknowledgement of any pecuniary interests. I ask members either to bring it up now or any time it arrives on the agenda. Number 3 is the adoption of minutes. May I have a motion to adopt the minutes, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor Matheson, seconded by Mr. Legault. Any discussion about the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. I'm unaware of any additional business on item number 4, so we shall move into the public hearings, which is item number 5.1, which is minor variance application A-2021-065 Douglas Packer at municipal address of 439 Green Street in the former town of Port Elgin. And Ms. Mugabe.
I think it's Liam, actually.
Is it Liam? Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, give me 1 second here.
Mr. Murphy, yes.
Okay. Great. So can everybody see that okay?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. So thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, fellow committee members. So the application tonight is relating to 439 Green Street. Mr. Packer has submitted a minor variance application in order to request a variance to the exterior side yard setback located along Green Street. So the following is an image of the subject property from Green Street looking north. So as you can see here, Green Street will now be recognized as the exterior side yard based on a change in lot orientation due to a severance that Mr. Packer is going to be submitting following this variance. So the existing porch located on the south side of Mr. Packer's property facing Green Street extends from the street approximately 3.5 meters, whereas the exterior side yard setback required is 4.5 meters. So the subject lands are located in Port Elgin. Surrounding uses include residential, as you can see here. Servicing the subject lands are serviced by municipal water and sewer services, and access to the property is maintained on a year-round municipally maintained road. So you have access from Green Street as well as Southampton Street. So the purpose and the site plan. So the purpose of the application is to seek relief of the minimum exterior side yard setback in the residential 1 zone in order to recognize the existing orientation of the dwelling. So the minimum exterior side yard depth required is 4.5 meters in the zoning bylaw for the R1 zone, whereas 3.5 meters for the retained lot is being sought. So as you can see on the image to the right-hand side here, you can see Green Street, and then you can see the section here, so 3.5662 meters. So that's the area in question for the variance. So typically that exterior side yard would be required to be 4.5 meters in the zoning bylaw, whereas Mr. Packer is requesting an exterior side yard setback of 3.5 meters in order to accommodate the existing dwelling on the subject lands. Now, the reason for this variance is in order to recognize the transition in where the front of the lot is going to be recognized. So typically it's recognized on the shortest side fronting a municipal road. So in this case, following the severance application, the shortest side of this lot will now be on Southampton Street, which would now be recognized as the front, and Green Street recognized as the exterior side yard. So the subject lands are identified in the Bruce County official plan as primary urban. They're identified in the local official plan as residential. And the zoning for the subject lands is residential first density with a special exception, number 3. However, in this case, it doesn't apply to the variance and it holds no weight in terms of what's proposed for the subject land. So the application was circulated to the town of Saugeen Shore staff as well as other applicable agencies. No objection or opposition was received. Additionally, the application was circulated to adjacent property owners and nearby property owners. No written comments were received by the submission deadline, and I'm not aware of any additional comments being received past the deadline. So in terms of the 4 tests for a minor variance, so the first test is, does the variance maintain the intent and purpose of the official plan? So as mentioned, the lands are designated residential in the town's official plan. The objectives of the residential designation are to provide a variety of housing forms and a mix of densities, and to ensure that development maintains the character of the area. The existing residential dwelling is a permitted use in the residential designation. The requested variance will contribute towards the severance of the property and allow for the development of an additional residential dwelling on the proposed severed parcel. The additional residential dwelling proposed will contribute towards the town's goal of a mix of densities while maintaining the neighborhood character. Therefore, the application satisfies the first test and maintains the intent and purpose of the official plan. Second test, does the variance maintain the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw? So as mentioned, the property is zoned residential first density with that special exception 3. The zoning bylaw outlines several provisions for the R1 zone in order to maintain the orderly development of the area. The exterior side yard setback is intended to provide a buffer between dwellings and an adjacent street. The proposed reduction in exterior side yard for the proposed retained lot is required to recognize the location of the existing dwelling as shown on the earlier image and on the site plan. The reduction in the exterior side yard will maintain the current function and use of the lot and is not anticipated to have any adverse impacts on any adjacent properties or the existing use of the property. Therefore, the variance maintains the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. The third test is the variance requested desirable for the appropriate and orderly development and use of the lands. As mentioned, the proposed development associated with the variance is appropriate and is compatible with the residential nature of the property. The proposed exterior side yard is similar to existing front yards and exterior side yard setbacks on surrounding properties, including 399 Green Street, which has a setback of approximately 3.9 meters, 646 Shant Street, which has a setback of approximately 2.57 meters, 505 Green Street, which has a setback of approximately 3 meters, and 417 Green Street, which has a setback of approximately 4.4 meters. So therefore, the variance requested is desirable and appropriate for the orderly development and use of the lands, and it maintains the residential character of the area. The fourth test, so is the variance minor in nature? So whether a variance is minor is evaluated in terms of the impact the proposed development is expected to have on the surrounding neighborhood. The proposed reduction in the exterior side yard is considered minor as it is needed to accommodate an existing dwelling on the retained lot. It is not expected that permitting the variance will have any impact on the character of the area or impact the ability of the adjacent property owners to use their property for permitted uses. Therefore, the variance is considered minor, and ultimately the proposed application addresses all 4 tests of the minor variance. So just to recap, the minor variance is requested to permit a reduction in the minimum exterior side yard setback to 3.5 meters, whereas the minimum exterior side yard setback in the R1 zone is required to be 4.5 meters. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement. It upholds the objectives of the Town of Saugeen Shores official plan and ultimately represents good land use planning. As we just discussed as well, the application satisfies all 4 tests for a minor variance, and ultimately staff recommend approval subject to the conditions on the decision sheet. Thank you, Mr. Chair and fellow committee members.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. I appreciate the report. Are there any questions for the planner from the members of our committee? Seeing none, is the applicant, Mr. Packer, present? I don't believe he is.
I believe he's watching through the live stream, but
through the live stream. Okay.
Yes.
Does he have the ability to make any comments should he wish?
I don't believe Mr. Packer had any comments to make.
Okay, I understand. And there's no members of the public on our call? Not that I can see.
Correct. There's no one but who's in front of you right now.
Okay. All right. So we'll move on. Is any questions or comments from the committee? Mr. Legault.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, maybe this one's for Jay. I'm not sure. I know we're dealing with this minor variance on Green Street at this moment, but with the severed land, so eventually the land will be severed and that piece will be sold off. I'm assuming. What are the potential uses of that severed piece under the R1? Is it single family dwelling, or could it be a multiple family dwelling? Or
I can let Liam answer. He's planner for the county and does planning work for the town.
Okay.
Sure. So through you, yes. So the permitted use for that severed parcel would be a single detached dwelling. I believe that's what Mr. Packer's intentions are in order to develop the land. It's either that or to sever off the vacant parcel.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Matheson.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. I believe this is good use of the land, but I did ask earlier this year that when we get applications like this, we get the full 360 view of the place. So we got one view of the house off of Green Street. I would like to have seen the view off of Southampton so I can get an idea of what the adjoining new yard would look like, the new residence at front and back side. So if we can try and get that in all applications as they come forward, you know, the full front, back, side views, pictures, it just gives us a better idea of what we're talking about. So today we're talking about the side yard setback. We didn't see it. You know, we saw a picture, but we didn't get to see it. So it would help our members to better be able to justify their decisions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Matheson. Anyone else? Seeing no questions, may I have a motion to move that the committee approves the application subject to the conditions on the decision sheet? I've lost our view here.
Deputy Mayor moves it.
Seconded?
Olivia seconds.
Okay, so one moment here, please.
I think Jay is sharing his screen for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can
so
stop share. The idea was you can look at the conditions as you're discussing the motion, but maybe I can wait a few seconds to put that up.
sure. So we have the motion to accept the application moved by Deputy Mayor Matheson and seconded by Ms. Barwell. Any discussion on this motion? And Mr. Posner, if you wish to bring up your screen for the decisions.
You're just in the middle.
Okay. And once we've read that, we could go back. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the application? That is carried. Thank you. Our next meeting date will be Monday, November the 15th, 2021, subject to confirmation by the Secretary Treasurer. And I now ask for a motion for adjournment, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Matheson, seconded by Mr. Legault. All in favor? That is